Despite the arguments against the creator of one of the world's most famous stories, Harry Potter, many of us, including myself, are still deeply in love with the story and the relationships between the character we have seen in this fantasy. Here, I solemnly swear that I'm up for no simple story, at least for the next few minutes.
Nice.
In the summer of 1990, J.K. Rowling was on a delayed train from Manchester to London when she conceived the idea of a boy who discovers he's a wizard. At that time, she was without pen and paper, so she had to rely solely on her imagination to craft the story. She soon came up with a plan for a 7-book series featuring this wizard boy. However, it wasn't until 7 years later that the idea finally materialized into a book. In that same year, her mother died of multiple sclerosis. Rowling decided to leave for Portugal to teach English, hoping to find a way to deal with her grief. In October 1992, Rowling married a Portuguese television journalist. However, the marriage turned out to be very short-lived. This husband also claimed to be the first person to have read about Harry Potter and to have helped Rowling frame the first book. In 1993, she left this husband and returned to Britain with their daughter and the first 3 chapters of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. She chose Edinburgh to settle down at that time because that's where her sister lived. She planned to stay with her until Christmas. All of a sudden, Rowling found herself fighting poverty and depression. She lived in a tiny flat in Edinburgh and struggled to make ends meet on £70 a week benefits. Since graduating from the University of Exeter in 1986, she had worked at various jobs, but 7 years later, she still ended up jobless as a single parent with no source of income. Her first marriage had also failed, contributing to the development of clinical depression. With such experience, it's not surprising that she once described herself the biggest failure she had ever seen. That's a time that she actively fought depression and even the idea of suicide. The silver lining here is that she later described her failure as liberating, as it allowed her to focus on writing. Rowling's initial expectation was to become a school teacher by completing a teacher training course, as she had no idea whether she would be able to sell her book. At that time, she had no idea that she would become one of the best-selling British authors of all time.
This was record-breaking. We have never seen anything like it. It was amazing, and I'm not sure I'll ever see anything like it again.
The making of Harry Potter, at least for the first 3 books, is probably just as ordinarily normal as we have seen. Rowling was often unable to heat her flat, so she sat in cafes and wrote Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone while her daughter slept in the pram. At this time, it is sad to know that sometimes her dinner was made out of one tiny tea biscuit, as she used all the money she had to feed her daughter. And according to her, when she got the initial payment of $2,500 for the first Harry Potter book, it seems like a fortune. After graduating from the university, Rowling relocated to London to work as a bilingual secretary for Amnesty International. However, instead of focusing on her job, she preferred listening to the Smiths and reading Dickens and Tolkien's. As she aspired to be a writer, she couldn't help but write stories on her work computers, even daydreaming about a teenage wizard named Harry Potter during the office hours. Eventually, this led to the official dismissal, as the employer just couldn't tolerate this behavior anymore. The experience working at Amnesty International did influence Rowling, and as a result, the Harry Potter series, as it exposed her to the harsh realities of the human rights abuses. This experience shaped the portrayal of themes such as the fight against oppression and the importance of standing up for what is right in the Harry Potter series.
Harry's heart did beat for us. For all of us.
Rowling's battle with depression made her intimately familiar with its agonizing depths. Indeed, the emotions she endured during the depression serve as an inspiration for the infamous character, the Dementor. Rubeus Hagrid, the gentle giant, is technically a half-giant born to a human father and a giant mother. While Hagrid may appear intimidating or even terrifying when he's angry, he is inherently kind and helpful, so is loved by most Hogwarts students. Hagrid's inspiration was someone Rowling encountered in person. It's a biker who had a fearsome appearance but showed a gentle and amiable demeanor that served as a model for Hagrid's character. Voldemort, the dreaded Dark Lord, was primarily modeled on Adolf Hitler. That's why Voldemort embodies the trait of an ambitious schemer who's inclined on exterminating those he deems inferior. In addition, Voldemort also incorporates aspects of the infamous Joseph Stalin. That's why it's not surprising that he's depicted as exceptionally brutal given his historical inspirations. The death of her own mother also heavily affected Rowling's writing. She later said that the creation of the Mirror of the Erised it's about her mother's death, as it depicted the loss and the longing for the dear ones more real. J.K. Rowling was named the first person to become a billionaire by writing books, but she also lost the billionaire status by donating a lot of money to charity. In 2012, it was estimated that she had given approximately $160 million to charity. J.K. Rowling's parents met each other for the first time at King's Cross Station, and that's why she uses as the station from which the Hogwarts Express departs. In the Harry Potter world, the platform 9 3/4 at King's Cross Station is a crucial point as it's the gateway to the magical world, but for J.K. Rowling herself, the station holds a special place because her parents met on the train to Scotland that departed from King's Cross Station. However much we praised her work, we cannot forget the number of rejections Rowling received before achieving her success. The manuscript of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was rejected by 12 publishers until it was accepted by Bloomsbury. The book was published under 2 initials and her surname rather than her full name because the publisher feared that the boys would be less likely to read it if they knew it was written by a woman. It was published in the United States in 1998 with the title Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. The name was changed to Sorcerer's Stone as they feared the word philosopher would not convey enough magic to American readers. The sequel, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, was published in 1998. The following year, the 3rd book, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, was released. By the time the 4th book, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, was out in 2000, the series had become an international phenomenon with millions of copies sold in the UK and the US. The success of Harry Potter series is unquestionable, but that doesn't mean that we can turn a blind eye to some of the remarks Rowling has made. Rowling has been criticized hugely for the remarks she has made on transgender people. Many individuals, including the leading actors of the Harry Potter series, criticize her remarks as discriminatory towards trans rights. Many even label Rowling as transphobic. This has sparked a phenomenon on the internet where many Harry Potter fans, as well as non-Harry Potter fans, have boycotted Rowling and even cancelled her in various ways. Our concerns about her remarks infringing the right of the LGBTQ+ communities are totally valid, but at the same time, I remind myself that she has the right to air her opinion, even when the opinion is against the mainstream of the political correctness. We cannot ignore the fact that she is the creator of Harry Potter and has previously done many commendable deeds. Are we criticizing her to want to improve the livelihood of the minority, or are we boycotting her for the sake of boycotting because her views do not deem politically correct? I will forever love the story she has created, and I will advocate for the values I have deeply felt reading the story, which are diversity, love, and tolerance. I hope you enjoy Harry Potter as much as I do. Lots of love to you, and stay safe.
Mischief managed.